Okay, let's get started. So, today we're going to be talking about tools and tips to help you and your team through stressful times. In the challenging times we are living in, stress levels are higher than ever, but we can't control every aspect of our own stress, nonetheless, our team stress. But we can control certain aspects, which is why it's incredibly important to attempt to control what we can. If we can minimize or prevent stress or stressors in the workplace, we will help to reduce the overall stress for ourselves and our team. Stress is a broad and complex issue, and how individuals respond to stress is even more complicated. As leaders, it's essential to remember that everyone handles stress in their own way. Depending on the level of stress, the type of stressor, our team members may have different reactions. For example, when stressed, one team member may become more intense or demanding, while another may become quiet and withdrawn. If our team's responses to stress are different, so must our approach to helping them through the stress. So, in this webinar, we will discuss tools you can use to anticipate and address potential stress early and hopefully improve overall communication during stressful times. When we're stressed, we often display behaviors we aren't proud of. I've been in that situation, and I'm sure you all can relate. When we feel threatened, we often call upon behaviors that are reactionary, that often don't help the situation. For example, say you're feeling stressed on a busy Saturday in the store, and you know you have to get a million things done in what seems like an incredibly small amount of time. You often find yourself racing, you know your face looks tense, you're zipping from one side of the store to another side of the store, and somebody asks you a question and you snap on them. You wouldn't normally do that, but it happened. Or maybe your gut reaction is just to take over. So the situation around us right now has been incredibly stressful, and your natural reaction may have just been to jump right in and say, "I've got this, I'll take over." But by doing so, you may have stepped on a few toes or gone out of the order of how things are supposed to be done. And before you realize it, you are starting to feel better and feel calmer, but you are you are more in a comfortable place. But when you look behind you, you see a sea of damage that has been done, and it wasn't intentional, but it happened, right? Because we went back to a place where we felt comfortable. Truthfully, without really understanding the behaviors, we can't ask for support in changing the behaviors. And certainly, if we don't know until it's too late, or if we don't know at all that we're doing something that's causing stress, we can't ask for help. We can't even begin to prevent it for the next situation. So the goal is we need to learn more about how to recognize ourselves in those situations, the feelings that we're having, and in advance instead of after the fact and seeing the sea of damage, so that we don't go through those same stressful situations again or cause stress for our team. When we're acting in a place of stress, we're definitely putting stress on our team as well. Not everyone deals with stress in the same way. Think about just within your own household, how different members of your family handle stress. How about your friends, your coworkers, right? Stressors affect people in different ways. How is it that one situation may send one person into a panic, but everyone else in the room is fine? What is it about that stressor or that situation that affected that individual so strongly? We'll discuss that. And we need to make sure that we're providing our managers with tools to identify and predict stress within their team. Predicting and preventing stress within our team members can be one of the most helpful tools we can have in our manager's tool belt. If managers can recognize when their team is stressed, they can help control the stress, they can help prevent the stress, and if the stress is already there, hopefully they can help alleviate their stress. Today, we will discuss two tools that will help your team through stressful times. One vital tool we will discuss in detail is DISC. DISC is a personalized learning experience that can benefit every person in the organization, regardless of title or position. What it does is it helps us build more effective relationships at work. DISC can help us identify stress in others and help us respond to it appropriately. We use DISC to help us determine how to handle the different styles within our work team. And we should be able to then improve our communication and be more effective and supportive to our teams during these stressful times. The second vital tool we're going to discuss is the NRHA Team Builder program. This is a comprehensive 2-day analysis of the people side of your business. It fully analyzes your current org structure and the way your staff members interact with you and each other. It'll help you discover how to get your staff working more cohesively as a team and set processes in motion to help you maximize the potential of your staff and improve your company culture. So let's dive in. So why use DISC, right? What is DISC? We use DISC because it helps us discover not only our own DISC style, but helps us better understand the styles of others. We can utilize it to help build and strengthen our teams and hopefully improve the overall team performance. We can use what we learn to help improve how we communicate with each other, how we coach each other. We can help how we're dealing with conflict. So when we're dealing with conflict, DISC can guide us in resolving the issue. We'll have a tool we can use that helps us discover why or how we even got here in the first place. And more importantly, how we can avoid being back in this situation again. Again, it can teach us really helpful preventative tools to prevent future conflict. To help you get a better understanding of how DISC is worked, we're going to ask you a couple questions. This tool is helpful when trying to determine what either your own style is or someone else's style, but keep in mind the best and most accurate way to determine your DISC profile is to take the complete DISC assessment, which we'll talk about in a bit. We will discuss ways for you and your team to complete that assessment a little bit further before we wrap up the webinar today. But let's start by asking just a couple simple questions in our fun little people reading activity. All right, here we go. You ready? Do you find yourself more fast-paced and outspoken? So we're looking at the left circle. Do you consider yourself active, assertive, dynamic, and bold? Or are you more the bottom half of the circle as cautious and reflective? Do the words describe you moderate-paced, calm, methodical, and thoughtful? Did you fall more on the top of the circle or the bottom of the circle? Remember your spot. Next, we're going to look at the circle on the right. Do you find yourself to be more questioning and skeptical? Are you logic-focused, objective, reserved, and challenging? Or do you consider yourself to be more accepting and warm? Are you people-focused, empathizing, receptive, and agreeable? Did you find yourself more on the left or the right of the circle? All right, let's combine them together. Which area or color did you find yourself to be most like? Are you a combo of, let's say, fast-paced and outspoken and questioning and skeptical? So you are in the green area of the circle or the upper left? Or are you more cautious and reflective and accepting and warm? So you find yourself in the blue area? Or are you the red area or the yellow area? Let's talk about what those colors and areas mean. Here you'll see the DISC model. We call it our DISC circumplest. It's a simple yet powerful model that describes the 4 basic behavioral styles, D, I, S, and C. So you'll see here, D stands for dominance, I stands for influence, S stands for steadiness, and C stands for conscientiousness. So did you fall in the green, red, blue, or yellow? And before we jump in too deep into the 4 styles, let me tell you a little bit more about DISC overall. First of all, everyone is a blend of all 4 DISC styles. Usually 1, 2, or 3 of those styles may stand out more prominent, but you're definitely a blend of all 4 styles. Each person has a unique behavioral profile with different styles and priorities. And remember, no one style is better or worse than the next. This is where in most DISC presentations, a D would say, except a D, which I feel you Ds, yes. And so right now, if you were thinking that, just know, we know you're thinking that, but all styles are equal and no one style is better than the other. In fact, we believe that these differences in styles can be extremely valuable. Once you assess the differences and can harness the value of them, better workplace communication and healthier organizations become possible. Each person who takes the everything DISC assessment has what we call a dot plotted on the map here. You can see one here above the eye. The example shows this person would tend towards the I style. You'll notice that there are in the circle, the 4 quadrants, the D, I, S, and C. Within each of those quadrants, there are 3 categories. For example, with the I, you'll see there's an ID, an I, and an IS, meaning if your personality is influenced, but your dot falls in the ID area, so to the left of where this one is, the ID piece of the puzzle, piece of the pie, you may identify with the I and the D. So your dot falls closer to the D. So you may have a primary style of influence, but you also have a lot of dominant style as well. Everything DISC officially defines a style as a set of typical response patterns that are expected from a person. However, that doesn't mean that a person can only exhibit this one pattern. For instance, an individual who has been assessed and located in the D quadrant will demonstrate more dominant behaviors and preferences than a person with another style, but will also from time to time show behaviors and preferences that are associated with the other 3 quadrants. The cornerstone principles are kind of the rules of DISC. So I want to run through these with you really quick to help you get an understanding. Again, all DISC styles and priorities are equally valuable, and everyone's a blend of the 4 styles. Your work style is also influenced by other factors in your life, your general life experiences, your education, your maturity level. And understanding yourself better is the absolute first step to becoming more effective when learning with others. If you learn about other people's DISC styles, you will do a better job of understanding their priorities and how they can differ from your own. You can then improve the quality of your workplace by using DISC to build more effective relationships. It's important to note that DISC isn't about labeling people or providing a common language for people to excuse their behavior. Oh, it's just because of my style, I'm a D, I'm an I, and S. That's not okay. The behavior tendencies that are reported are just that, they're just tendencies. Everybody can and does behave in a way that can be attributed to all the styles. However, we do have preferences, and it's sometimes easier to behave in that way because it's most natural to us. It's where we feel the most comfortable. Growing up, we were in a lot of situations and we reacted in a way that worked for us. That's kind of how that style or comfort level works. However, under pressure, our natural tendencies may become exaggerated, and it's at that time that we need to direct our energy to flexing into our other styles so that we get the results we need. All of the DISC reports provide a full detailed information about how we can adapt our natural tendencies when working with people of different or even the same style so that we can learn to communicate more effectively and develop stronger workplace relationships. So let's learn more about the 4 styles. Let's start with the Ds. People with the D style place an emphasis on shaping the environment by overcoming opposition to accomplish results. They're motivated by winning and competition and success. They prioritize accepting challenges and taking action and achieving immediate results. They're described as direct, results-oriented, firm, strong-willed, and forceful. They may be limited by a lack of concern for others, their impatience, and open skepticism. They fear being seen as vulnerable or being taken advantage of. They value competency, action, concrete results, personal freedom, and challenges. If you're communicating with a D-style individual, give them the bottom line, be brief, and focus your discussion narrowly. Avoid making any generalizations and refrain from repeating yourself. They got it. Focus on solutions rather than problems. The I profile. I is for influence. People with the I style place an emphasis on shaping the environment by influencing or persuading others. They're described as outgoing, enthusiastic, optimistic, high-spirited, and lively. They prioritize taking action, collaboration, and expressing enthusiasm. Jazz hands. They're motivated by social recognition, group activities, and relationship. They may fear the loss of influence, disapproval, or being ignored. They value coaching and counseling, freedom of expression, and democratic relationships. They may be limited by being impulsive and disorganized and having lack of follow-through. When communicating with an I style, share your experiences with them. Allow them time to ask questions and talk themselves. Focus on the positives and avoid overloading them with details, and don't interrupt them. The S style. S is for steadiness. People with the S style place an emphasis on cooperating with others, and they love existing circumstances, and they like to complete their tasks. They're motivated by cooperation, opportunities, and the ability to help others with sincere appreciation. They prioritize giving support, collaboration, and maintaining stability. They're described as even-tempered, accommodating, patient, humble, and tactful. They may be limited by being indecisive or overly accommodating and have a tendency to avoid change. They fear change because of the loss of stability and offending others. They value loyalty, and they help others with security. When communicating with an S style, express your interest in them and what you expect from them. Take time to provide clarification, be polite, and avoid being confrontational, overly aggressive, or rude. And last but certainly not least is our C style. C stands for conscientiousness. People with the C style place an emphasis on working conscientiously with existing circumstances to ensure quality and accuracy. A person with the C style is motivated by opportunities to gain additional knowledge, show their expertise, and produce quality work. They prioritize ensuring accuracy and maintaining stability and challenging assumptions. They're described as analytical, reserved, precise, private, and systematic. They may be limited by being overcritical, over-analyzing, and isolating themselves. They fear criticism and being wrong. They value quality and accuracy. When communicating with the C-style individual, focus on the facts and the details. Minimize the pep talk or emotional language. Be patient, persistent, and diplomatic. So now that you know a little bit more about each of the individual styles, I'll give you a little couple things to remember about how they're motivated. Remember, Ds are looking for results and control. I's are looking for recognition and approval, and S's are looking for stability and security. C's like precision and order. And remember, D's and I's are fast-paced, so they'll be go, go, go. S's and C's are slower paced, so the top of the circle versus the bottom of the circle. D's and C's are task-focused, so they're on the left side of the circle. And the I's and S are people-focused on the right side of the circle. The first time you learn more about our DISC profiles, we are always looking for our strengths. We want to see the stuff we are proud of and share it with others. We want to build upon those positive qualities. We want others to understand how important our priorities are, and we want to feel good about ourselves. But every personality has areas of struggle. And when we are stressed, we often display behaviors we aren't proud of. When we feel threatened, we often call upon behaviors that are reactionary and often don't help the situation. We're going to look into those and dive in a little bit deeper. Without understanding these behaviors, we can't ask for support, and we can't change them or learn how to recognize them before we're fully committed to the action. When coaching people knowledgeable about the DISC style, you can help them deal with their struggles by reminding them that other styles, or even their own style, have issues under stress. Plus, we can all learn to flex into the other styles and act more positively. When the D style is under stress or feeling stressed, they adopt a highly aggressive stance. So Ds can become more intense and demanding. I's can become highly emotional and explosive. S's, they often will comply but feel hurt. And C's type will avoid and withdraw. So that's the traditional reaction you may predict from the specific DISC styles. So let's talk about the Ds specifically under pressure, under stress. Again, they adopt a highly assertive and aggressive stance. We've all seen this, right? They'll often dictate solutions and expect immediate responses to their instructions. The Ds like to operate from a position of control. So when times are stressful, you'll see them take on some of these characteristics listed on your screen. They're going to overstep their boundaries, which causes anxiety for others. They can be blunt or even sarcastic, aggressive. They don't stop. They just act relentlessly. They often steamroll others around them, specifically those who are more soft-spoken and reserved. They'll definitely make mistakes because they're not paying attention to the details. They're go, 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 go. They become dissatisfied with routine work and they start withdrawing from the team. So those are some of the things you may see a D do. And if you do see those, it's a general trigger that they're under a lot of pressure or stress. When the I style's under pressure or feeling stressed, they will try to talk themselves out of it. In fact, that is their natural response to almost every problem that they have. If and when an I is placed under stress, they will often adopt a verbal attacking style. They'll accuse others of causing problems, attempt to blame the whole system or even other people, as opposed to putting any of the blame on their own shoulders. When they're stressed, you'll see them do some of these activities below, right? So they'll start acting impulsively, heart over mind. They'll reach inconsistent conclusions because they're kind of racing around. They'll start to oversell something. They will have difficulty estimating time because they're working through a lot of different things. And it causes a lot of anxiety in others around them. So if you see any of these characteristics in someone that you know is an I or you believe to be an I, you may want to take a moment and realize that they're under stress and see what we can do to help them. When the S style is under pressure or feeling stressed, they will attempt to avoid conflict and preserve relationships in a pressure situation. So they will want to reach a solution to the problem that makes everybody happy. Because they're sympathetic, the S profile will attempt to see both sides of the argument or problem and make sure all sides feel like they're being heard. When they're stressed, you will see them work on some of these behaviors below here. So they may do things the way they've always want to do it. They just want to keep doing it how they are. And if they can't, it makes them uncomfortable. They are going to struggle or have trouble juggling multiple tasks. They're going to need more information to feel comfortable. There's going to be, they're going to struggle with innovation. They're not going to want to change. They're going to wait to begin. So if you see them doing some of these behaviors below, it traditionally means that they're handling it under pressure or stress. They may appear calm, while really on the inside, they're feeling very stressed. Like the S style, the C style will also try to avoid conflict within these situations. However, they tend to be a little bit more evasive about it. Cs will often attempt to remove themselves from the situation, occasionally even acting like it doesn't exist. Perhaps somebody else will take care of it. When they're stressed, you may see them seek excess feedback or direction. They may be hesitant to react without precedent. They will start to feel uncomfortable and resist, say, delegating tasks or ask for a full explanation. If they are avoiding being involved in something, it might be because they're feeling threatened. They may yield position to avoid controversy. If they can't make a full educated decision on something, they may just give up the whole right to make the decision. They want to be able to focus on their tasks. Again, they also may appear calm while they're internalizing stress. So they're not going to be like the Ds and the Is where you see it boiling over, but it will boil over. But they're at first going to be internalizing a great deal of that stress. So now that you know a little bit more about how the different styles react under stress, you can watch for those stress triggers and identify if members of your team are feeling stress. They'll help you identify stress earlier, hopefully, especially if someone else's style is different than your own. So like we said before, stress is broad and a complex issue, and a detailed examination of all of it lies beyond the powers of the full DISC system. However, we can use DISC to help you identify how to help different DISC styles in your work team should you communicate more effectively and help your teams get through the stressful times. So let's look at how different DISC styles react to different situations and circumstances. Remember earlier we talked about how one situation may trigger one person in the room and everyone else seems fine. So what is it about that style and what is it about that situation that affected that person person so much. So again, we'll start with the Ds. So stressful situations or circumstances for the D style. Remember, the D style is fast-paced, so they will not like to slow down. They like to have variety, so working in an environment with no change or performing a lot of routine tasks will be difficult for them. When they have to follow strict rules, they often feel held back or restricted, and they feel like they're losing control of the situation. They don't want to take orders from other people as they like to be in control. They want quick decisions made and fast action. So when their team takes time and doesn't make quick decisions, it's very difficult for them. They're like, let's go. They don't like being forced to pay attention to the emotional needs of others. The I style is also fast-paced, and they are people-focused, so they want to be liked. They don't want to move. They want to move fast and make quick decisions. They don't like to focus on the details of any situation or precision, as it slows them down. They want to go, go, go as well. They want to work at their pace and do what they want to do. They don't want to follow routine. If the environment is dull or unsociable, they will avoid it. They don't like giving people unpleasant feedback or being forceful or insistent to others. They don't want to be isolated for long stretches of time, and they like to use their own intuition. Stressful situations or circumstances for the S style. S's are slow-paced and people-focused, so they don't like letting people down or going through rapid changes. They see no need for competitive environments, as it means that there's got to be a winner and a loser, and that upsets the apple cart. They don't like taking risks or working in high pressure situations because it would require change, and everyone may not like the change or be comfortable with the change at that time. Being slow paced, they don't like to be forced to make decisions, as they like to think through it. They don't like dealing with angry, pushy, or argumentative people, as they often feel railroaded by them. Being people focused, they don't want to argue with anybody and struggle giving negative feedback. Stressful situations for the C style. The C is slow paced and task focused. They hate working on short deadlines, as they feel it will make them compromise the quality of their work. They don't want to deal with conflicts and emotionally charged people. It causes C's great stress to have to make decisions without fully viewing all the data. They want to crunch the numbers. They don't like to multitask, as they prefer to put all of their focus on one project to ensure it's done accurately. They have a fear of failure, and therefore any criticism of their work causes them great stress. They are their toughest critics. They are most comfortable in a controlled environment and don't like chaos. They prefer to have private time and don't want to mingle with strangers. They don't like being forceful or insistent. Everyone should just do what they're supposed to do. Now that we know what types of stressful situations affect your team, you can start helping them avoid those situations or prepare them before they go into those situations. Give them the time they need to be ready to go into something that may be harder for them. Now that we know a little bit more about DISC, let's talk about some general tips to help your team through stress. Stress predictions are predictable. We've covered that a bit. We can anticipate and then address potential stress early. It's not about you, it's about them. It is important to pay attention to everyone's needs around you. Make sure to clarify your message. Even if you think your message is clear, it's worth looking again to ensure that it's clear to everyone, not just people like yourself. Remember, not all people move at the same pace or same comfort level. So again, a good reminder that D's will become more intense and demanding. I's will become emotional and explosive. S's will comply and feel hurt. And C's will avoid and withdraw. Because people's response to stress is fairly consistent, you can now start predicting your team's reaction when things aren't going well. These behaviors, as we know, are not necessarily helpful or appropriate, but they are likely to occur. And they can now warn us that there's a stress amongst our team members. We can anticipate and address potential stress early. By looking ahead, you can often mitigate issues by addressing them early. Remember, it is always better to prevent an issue than it is to repair it. Hold team discussions that allow everyone to share their needs and feelings. You can also offer additional ways for your team to contact you if they are concerned and looking for different means of communication. They may not feel comfortable speaking up in the group. Identify methods to support each other. Work together to find ways that will support the whole team. Ask your team members what works best for them. Remember, not everyone's going to react the way you react or like the type of support that you like. Hold everyone accountable for keeping their own stress within respectful boundaries. This is absolutely true about the management team and owners as well. If you know you're stressed or heading that way or heading that way down the stressful avenue, you need to be accountable for the actions and take a walk around the building or take a quick break, but don't go out and try to lead your team at that exact moment. Ask your fellow managers or teammates to help you identify triggers or give you tips so that you know what signals to watch for. I always worked with every manager that I ever worked with and every team that I worked with. I would tell them, if you see me starting to look upset, give me a sign. And they would give me a simple sign. And I knew right then that I needed to go and walk around the building or take a moment. We need to make sure that we're relieving our mounting stress early and monitoring it frequently. If we ask our co-managers to help us with those triggers, it really will help, and we'll start to identify it even sooner. And the sooner you can identify it, the sooner you can adjust your attitude. It's not so much about you as them. Attempt to depersonalize your reaction to other stress, even though someone may be having their reaction to stress and it's directed directly at you, it's very likely it isn't about you. I know it's hard to not take it personal. It's hard to separate yourself from their stress. But keep in mind that most people have a similar stress reaction regardless of other individuals involved. For example, C's will want to go off alone and ponder their next step, whether they're upset with you or Mary or Joe. If you respond to other stress behaviors as not directed to you, it's easier to focus on how to solve concerns in a more detached way. If you remain calm, you can control your reactions better. If you become frustrated or stressed, you yourself may react in a way that you'll regret later. We face this situation a lot with upset customers. They will often vent about their concern and then become instantly apologetic because oftentimes what they were venting about wasn't the main problem, but perhaps the 15th problem they had encountered that day. We need to pay attention to everybody's needs. Return to the basics of DISC here, and it really will help you with your core needs. Remember, we all handle stress and stressors differently. An individual's specific needs are likely to have a high priority when they're feeling stressed, right? D's are going to need result in action. I's are going to need attention and involvement. S's are going to need acceptance and relationships. C's are going to need to be right and not wrong. Work as a team to fulfill needs or to fulfill others' needs to the extent possible. Utilize the entire team to help solve the problems. You don't have to go it alone. Open up the conversation about supporting each other through these stressful times and being there for each other. Remember that one individual's needs may be very different, even opposite of your own or other team members. Take a moment to think about the individual and what their specific need is. Remember, it is very likely it isn't what your need may be in that situation. Clarify your message. It may not be as obvious as you think. Don't assume that others can read through your stress reactions to get to the message you're trying to send. If you're upset for a reason, or if an action someone is performing is frustrating you and causing you stress, talk about the action, not how it makes you feel. The quieter styles, the S's and the C's, can use too few words, rely too much on nonverbals, or hope that their demeanor sends a signal. You know this one. I call it the look. If looks could kill, right? If the quieter style who doesn't like confrontation has to address the action, that may be their response. You may get the look. But the person who is getting the look may not realize it's happening at all, or they may think you're just upset, but not at them. So the message is lost. You need to clarify the message. These behaviors can be too obtuse for the D's and the I's to read correctly. D's may be so blunt that others don't even feel like speaking up. If the D is in full dominance mode, they may be too direct and make others feel as if they can't speak a word. So if they did have a question about the message, they likely won't ask it. Therefore, making whatever action upset the D completely lost on the individual they're talking to. Eyes may seem on the verge of a meltdown or start to attack those around them. They often get tense in the face and no longer are their usual smiling self, which causes their team to feel their stress and know that they are likely to be attacked or blamed. The main goal here is to clarify the message and don't assume anything. Your reaction is your own, and it's how you reacted to the situation. The message could get lost on someone with a different personality. We need to realize the opposite pace tendencies of our team. Speedy resolution of problems is great for D's and I's because of their natural fast pace. But S's and C's need more time to explore the feelings and the logic behind it before they can address any of the conflict in the situation. If you ask someone to work outside of their pace tendencies, stress will happen. Asking a C to make quick decisions but not giving them time to review the reports that support the decision will end poorly. Vice versa, asking a D to review every spreadsheet in an 83-page report before making a decision will end poorly. Teams can benefit from remembering the difference in pace and how it affects a team's ability to discuss and resolve stress. If you give the C time to review the report before the decision needs to be made, and you give them that information ahead of time, they will feel more comfortable. If you summarize the information that the D will need to know, they will be more comfortable. How a team works together under pressure distinguishes a great team from a mediocre one. Teams that remember everyone reacts differently and adapts their communication to the style of the person they are working with will be more effective. In the end, you will save significant amounts of time and get more work done. Think of the worst meeting you have ever been in your life. If the meeting was long and you have a fast-paced style, you were miserable. If the meeting was short and decisions were being made quickly all around you without reviewing every detail, the C's would be miserable, right? And yet we keep meeting the same way and not taking into consideration who is in the meeting and how we can pre-plan for it. As you can see, DISC is a powerful tool. In addition to helping your teams with stress, the DISC assessment can also be used to help improve communication in your team, determine what motivates your teammates, help you understand how you react to other styles, provide you strategies to increase your effectiveness with the other styles, teaches you how to relate to different styles when dealing with conflict. The DISC assessment itself, when taken, will give you 3 specific personalized actions that will help you increase your own personal workplace effectiveness. Some goals you can work towards. You can use DISC when coaching your team. It helps you learn to adjust your style to the style of the person you're coaching to improve overall communication and effectiveness. If you improve the selling skills of the staff, you can do that through DISC as well. If they can identify the DISC style of the customer, it helps them improve how to sell to the customer, and that results in improved sales. There's also a great deal of additional DISC reports that are available on management styles, sales styles, work of leaders, team views, comparison reports. I could go on and on and on. And the best way you can ensure to get the most out of DISC is to participate in an on-site DISC facilitation, which is part of the tool I want to talk to you next about, which is the NHPA Team Builder Program. The NHPA Team Builder Program is an organizational development assessment for your business. Simply put, it's a 2-day on-site analysis of the people side of your business. We will fully analyze your current org structure and review the way your staff members interact with each other. We also help you discover how to get the staff working more cohesively as a team and ensure that the processes you have in place will maximize the potential of your team and therefore improve your overall company culture. Team Builder breaks down into 3 main steps. First, we will get to know your team. You determine 10 members of your team to take the DISC assessment and participate in an on-site DISC facilitation. Second, we will evaluate your structure. We'll work together to get a better understanding of the general fundamentals of your business and make recommendations to help you align your team to the business goals and values. Are you set up to reach your goals? Third, we will go beyond the analysis. We will provide you with a full analysis of how you can continue to improve your business, complete with recommendations on training resources, leadership training, and much more. So let's dive into those steps a little bit more. We'll begin by learning more about your specific needs. We will work with you to take the inventory on where your current organization stands. We'll ask in advance for a few things. Do you have an organizational chart or a staff listing that you can share with us? We'll review the job descriptions you have for key roles such as the manager and assistant manager, and it's okay if you don't. We'll ask you a couple general questions. Do you have a company mission or vision statement? What's the makeup of your management team? Do you have a support team? What are your top challenges right now? What is your organization facing? What's your vision for the organization? Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Are you growing? What we'll start to do next is, so basically what we do after this point is we're gonna get some stuff started before we get there. We'll start by sending you 10 DISC assessments, and they will come by whoever the owner decides to have. We recommend that you would we recommend you'd give DISCs to all the owners and to the management team members. We'll compile those reports and provide you both a digital and printed copy of the 20-page assessments. We'll also compile a full review of all the information you provided us to get a better understanding of your business and the needs that you may have, and use that information to start preparing for our visit. So when we visit, let's talk about that. During the 2-day visit to your business, we'll guide you through that DISC assessment training, including tips on how to coach and build relationships, improve your selling skills, and improve communication. We will complete a full DISC facilitation, and everyone will get a printed copy of their DISC assessment, as well as a DISC facilitation guide. We will thoroughly review the assessment together and to participate in multiple activities to ensure that your team truly understands and will utilize their DISC assessment. In addition to the DISC workplace assessment, you'll also get a DISC team view, which provides you with a snapshot of all the DISC styles of your team, of your staff. And it's a helpful, quick view, and it's a good reminder of where your team member style is located. And so before you interact with that team member or work with them on a project, you can have a refresher of where they lie on the DISC circle. We'll also get you a DISC comparison report. This report is very helpful. It compares any two individuals and helps to address any tension or communication challenges they may have. This tool is very thorough and can be an extremely effective way to improve communication and relieve tension. We'll also provide the team with several tips on how to keep DISC alive within your own organization. And of course, we'll provide any additional training recommendations we may have for your staff. We'll also evaluate several aspects of your business. We'll meet with owners. We'll complete store walkthroughs in as many stores as possible. We'll give us a true feeling of the overall customer service level and effectiveness of the processes and procedures within your stores. We'll have one-on-one conversations with the owners, the managers, and we'll discuss any questions they may have from the training, and also discuss any questions or concerns they may have or want to filter through us. We'll observe how your staff interacts with your customers. Being an outsider coming in, we have a great opportunity to see what's truly happening within your store. After hundreds of walkthroughs, we have a quick feeling of the vibe in a store and how well the processes and procedures are truly being executed. After the visit, we'll compile and analyze all the information and observations we gathered during our visit and compile a team builder final assessment. The final assessment will include recommendations on how to improve your staff processes, productivity, and culture. More specifically, we'll provide the items listed here: org chart recommendations, improved job description suggestions, and examples that may help you, suggested hiring and onboarding procedures, any training recommendations that we may have for the staff, your managers, or even the owners. Employee review process suggestions, additional communication strategies, accountability tools, including coaching, online meetings. And so this one's important here. So the online meeting is really helpful. So you aren't just going to get this assessment and be done. We will do an online meeting with you to go through this and discuss it in full detail. We'll also make any recommendations on additional programs like our vision process. So that's a little bit more about our NRHA Team Builder program. On behalf of NRHA and myself, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope you found something that you can take and put into action within your organization. If you have any questions about DISC or the Team Builder program, please feel free to reach out to me. My email and phone number are here. It's kpeffley@nrha.org and 219-776-0094. I am passionate about the home improvement industry, and I'm here to help you in any way. We're going to open up now for any questions that you may have. But again, I just wanted to thank you so much for your time and hope you all stay well.